This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
So during the break, Matt, we looked it up. It is more blessed to give than to receive.
It's better to give than to receive. We've heard it many a times from our parents and grandparents, right? Especially at Christmas time when we don't get what we want, right? I thought that was just an old wives' tale. I didn't realize that, hey, it is from the Bible.
Yeah, Acts 20:35.
The Apostle Paul said that Jesus said it in Acts. So there you go. That's one of the reasons why I'm not a pastor.
That's okay.
I didn't go to theology, seminary, whatever.
Yep. But it's okay. So we've set the record straight. Apostle Paul said, Jesus said, it's better to give than to receive. But speaking of helping people, giving, shall we say, there are so many sellers out there who are frustrated because maybe their property value is starting to slip. They're not getting the price that maybe their neighbor's house sold for. And on the other hand, there's buyers who are frustrated because prices are still really high. Interest rates are still really high. So Haley has figured out a way to fix this. So Haley, do you mind going into some of your seller financing options that you've provided clients?
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing one actually right now for a family member, and we're getting the file all set up. But what is transpiring is this person, for tax reasons, would like to not have the burden of having a tenant anymore in their home and would rather have somebody purchase the home. So, the taxes, insurance, repair costs, all that is on the new buyer.
Yeah.
But in a way that they could still make a little bit of interest on the money, shield themselves from capital gains. So there's a lot of benefits doing this way if you structure it properly, you have the right team behind you, and plus they're going to give them a better interest rate too.
Yep.
So there's huge benefits to it. And
for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So let's break that down really quick. So if you're looking to sell a house and you have a lot of equity in the house, maybe it was a rental, maybe it was your primary residence and you're moving somewhere else. What a lot of sellers, because it's $250,000 as an individual, $500,000 if you're married filing jointly. That's not a lot of money in today's market. Like that's not you can easily clear that $500,000 and still have capital gains on top of it. And so what some people are choosing to do now is instead of taking that lump sum of money and then paying a bunch of taxes on it, is receive some funds up front, like a down payment, and then just seller finance the rest.
Yeah.
And then so now they're getting paid more over time. They become the bank, but also they're paying less in taxes.
Yeah. And it works out wonderfully for a lot of people that honestly might not fit the standard loan, and they might be self-employed. We have a lot of people that are actually self-employed or entrepreneur or starting a new venture, and they cannot get typical financing. So this works really well for them, and it's a benefit to actually both parties. We get to have them get into home ownership, and then also they don't have to wait years and throw away money on rent, and so it actually helps out a lot.
There's a couple different ways you can structure this. So if you're listening and you have like a 2%, a 3%, a 4% interest rate, well, what we're able to do is and let's say your house isn't paid off, we can do a wrap mortgage.
Yeah.
So your buyer of your property is maybe going to pay you 5 or 6, like a point or two higher.
Yeah.
And that's still below market rate.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and then you don't have any of the lender fees associated, or you don't need to do a credit to, buy the rate down. You're already getting the rate lower, which
Great point.
Awesome. More money in your pocket.
So it's a win-win for both the sellers and the buyers, and there's two ways to go about it. One, the seller, can hold the note and do the servicing of the debt, or there's a company out there that we can connect you with that handles that. So if you want to be completely hands-off.
All hands off, and then you don't have to worry, then you don't have that pressure anymore of having that awkward conversation when you don't get paid your mortgage on the 1st or the 5th of the month. They are servicing it for you, and so they take care of all of that. And they do actually have a expedited clause where if they don't pay, they can actually foreclose, and you can get the property back in a timely manner instead of having to wait the lengthy process of typical foreclosure for a bank.
Oh, that's so cool. I didn't know they offered that as well.
Yeah, so that's a huge benefit too, because I think most sellers, that's what they're most scared of, is they'll get stuck or just the unknown, really. And so this kind of puts a little bit of, more ease for them to feel comfortable moving forward in this direction.
Mm-hmm. So the seller's protected, the buyer's protected. As long as everybody performs, everybody's good.
Yeah.
Right.
And honestly, if they don't, now you just made interest on your house for the last couple of years, and then you get it back, and hey, maybe the economy is even better and you have more equity and you can do it again, Yep. So you always have to look at things in the light of how can we make this a positive?
Mm-hmm. And we were talking this morning so we do a morning huddle every single day on the Made for More team. And we were talking about how we like to prepare our clients, not what if, but even if.
Exactly.
And so this is one of those even if scenarios. Even if the market goes up, even if the market goes down, even if that buyer decides, hey, you know what, I no longer want this house. Yeah. You are protected, and not only are you protected, but you could be in a financially better situation.
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, I remember, I think it was 2008, I did a seller finance, and it just didn't work out. The people decided, they changed where they wanted to live, and so they, ended up moving out, and the sellers made interest on the property. They got it back, and their house was worth $150,000 more. So It was a win-win for them, to be honest.
Yeah. So Haley has that awesome information. If you guys want to reach out to Haley, just Google Made for More. You'll see her. You'll call. Just ask for her by name, and we'll get you connected with Haley as soon as possible. And another reason why you're going to want to get connected with Haley is because she has an incredible off-market list, and she works it like a hungry dog on the back of a meat truck.
Yes,
so these are properties that have not gone on the MLS yet?
You cannot find them on...
How do you get those properties?
Well, you got to contact me, of
course. There you go.
How do you find those properties? Is that just a matter of going to sellers and talking to them?
No. So actually, it started with talking to another agent out of another brokerage who I looked up to, and she always had listings coming, and I was like, hey, how could I provide value to her that she'd want to help me on the back end with my buyers? And so I approached her. I said, hey, I have these houses coming in the next 2-3 months if you have any buyers. And I kept doing that over and over with her, and then she started reciprocating. And so then I would, anytime I got something new, I would start texting agents and telling them, hey, I have this coming. Do you have any buyers? And then it built off of one agent to now, I think on the largest group we have right now is 42 agents on there. So it's grown quite a bit, and there's 172 properties on there.
Wow.
They're all over too. So it's expanding, and it's, a great resource for buyers because they don't have the bidding war, and they get to see stuff that, isn't on the market and not on Zillow or Realtor.
Sometimes the MLS or the Zillow can feel like you're shopping leftovers.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, you are.
That's because Haley's already sold it off market, and you didn't even know it hit the market.
Yeah,
so then I'm interested in what her perspective is on, is this going to be a growing thing where more and more people are basically selling their homes off of they're not using MLS because of the competition from Zillow and different other companies like that?
I think it will grow. However, it's like anything else. People love tradition, and so they want top dollar. And to be honest, usually the best exposure is going live to the market. And if you don't want that and you want to be maybe more discreet, or you don't want your neighbor to know, I have a client right now, and she's like, meet me at the back of the alley and I'll let you in the house. And I'm like,
knocked 3 times.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. And she's like, has all the lights off, and I'm like, is everything okay? She's like, yeah, I just don't want my neighbors to know that I'm selling the house. And I'm like, okay. So we're indiscreet with that, and so it's fine. That off market works great for her because I'll be able to expose her home to people that are interested in buying, but also protect her and make her feel comfortable. And that's what it's about.
I don't think it's going to be a massive trend where everybody's doing this, but it is a growing trend because now it's so easier to communicate all this stuff.
Exactly.
Anyways, and the MLS has kind of shot themselves in the foot. A couple of years ago, they passed that clear cooperation thing where they they just made it very black and white. It's all this way and none of that way. All it has to be on the MLS. There's no coming soon. There's no pre-list.
Yeah.
And so they kind of caused this problem, honestly, because it's not everybody wants that one size fits all solution.
Yeah.
And so this is just the genesis of figuring out a way around that to give clients what they want.
Sure.
Exactly. Yeah, because every person is so different, their needs and their wants, and you just really need to hone in on listening to what the client wants, because I'm employed for them, and I should be doing the best for them.
I have a question about your ability to network with other realtors, because
a good question. She's one of the best I know at this.
Yeah, because you talked about connecting with 40 other realtors to create this community of helping each other. Right? Do some realtors feel like, well, everybody's my competition, I'm not going to talk to anybody, and I'm in a silo, and it's just me, and talking to someone else is like helping the competition? How do you balance that? Because in some way, they are the competition, right?
Yeah, I think you just realize who wants in and who doesn't, and you put that out there, and all I can do is present it to them, and if they don't want to respond or they feel it's like threatening, then I'm like, okay, I understand, I respect it, and you just move on, and you realize that that's not a person that you want to work with and offer that to, and that's okay. Not everybody gets it. Like when I used to call and I'd have a listing and I'd do reverse prospecting within the MLS, so I could literally call agents and be like, hey, you have a buyer, you have a portal set up for them, and they're like, oh, I do, and they were taken back.
Explain really briefly though, because I think people listening to this, like, they don't realize that we have access to this special tool that enables us to find other real estate agents who may have buyers for our property.
So what you do is on the MLS, when you've listed the property, you have a tool where you can go in and put all the credentials and criteria for the home in the MLS. Auto-populates all the agents that have set up listing searches for their clients specifically. And then that populates a whole list of all these agents, and it has their number, and then I go and dial them up, and I'm like, hey, I've got a home for you. Your buyer's looking for a 3-2 in Auburn, on an acre. And then they're like, wait, what? And so it's just another, way for me to connect with them, but also get them the information, because your emails get bogged down, and you're not always like, if you have a bunch of buyers, sometimes things slip through the cracks, and I'm just making you aware, hey, maybe you have somebody.
So rather than just passively waiting for agents to find Haley's listings, she's out there hunting down buyers for her sellers, right?
Being proactive, And just going back to being able to work with others and network, I think if you look at any industry, those who are successful are not those who are trying to do it alone, right?
No matter, definitely do not go alone.
Right, looking for mentors and people to come alongside and network, and you've discovered that, right?
Yeah.
And we're not broker specific.
No.
I think some people are more, so there's some people that don't collaborate at all with anybody, and then there's some people that only do it within their own brokerage. And then there's like the Haleys out there who are like, hey, I don't care who you are, as long as you are ethical, do a good job for your clients, and and we can work together.
That's smart. Goal is to find my seller a buyer. So the more people and agents that I can talk to, the higher probability that I have that's going to happen.
Right.
So, anyways, that's a benefit to working with Haley. Again, if you want to work with Haley, if you're considering buying or selling, it's never too early to have that conversation. Just go to madeformorerealty.com or call 855-935-MORE and ask for Haley.
Real estate is personal. We all get that. There's many different personal factors that go into selling or buying a home. It's not like going and buying or selling a car. So that's why we've always recommended Johnny Jennings and the Tom Daves team at Made for More Realty. They get it. They want to take away the stress and the worry and the anxiety when it comes to selling your home. That's why right now they're going to make it super easy and simple by giving you at least 3 cash offers for your home in as-is condition. No need to do repairs. Get it organized, staging, open houses. Again, at least 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. So all you got to do is Google Johnny Jennings and the Tom Daves team at Made for More Realty and get more for your home.